Okay, let's unpack this. We are diving into a story that has absolutely rocked Hollywood political commentary and really the entire late-night TV world.
Hmm.
We're talking about the sudden, pretty unexpected, and indefinite removal of Jimmy Kimmel from ABC.
Yeah, it's a huge moment. And it forces us really to look past the immediate, the instant outrage.
Right.
We've gathered source material that drills into the actual corporate mechanisms at play here. So our mission today, it's not just repeating headlines.
No.
We want to analyze the network's hard calculation, look at the cultural cost when you censor political satire, and then explore 5 pretty bold hypotheses for what the future of network comedy might actually look like now.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
This isn't just some scheduling issue. It feels like a massive signal. Maybe a warning shot, fired across the bow of every entertainer whose paycheck comes from a big media company.
Absolutely right.
And for you, the listener, this is about understanding the longer-term implications.
Yeah.
Corporate control versus the, let's face it, messy reality of free speech in media.
Yeah, that tension.
So let's kick off with the trigger event itself. The news breaks. Jimmy Kimmel Live is off the air. Foreseeable future. And it just immediately sparks this intense debate.
Right.
To really get the network's reaction, we need the specifics, what actually happened.
Okay, so the official reason ABC gave, it's centered on remarks Kimmel made, specifically about a shooting incident and comments from the conservative figure Charlie Kirk.
Okay, Charlie Kirk, remind us.
Yeah, for anyone unfamiliar, Kirk is a very prominent, very influential conservative voice. Kimmel's joke, and our sources note this, it directly linked Kirk's, let's say, controversial public statements on gun control and recent tragedies to the fallout from a specific, very high-profile shooting incident.
Okay, so that's the connection. And this is where it gets tricky, right?
Yeah.
Late-night hosts, they kind of live by skewering current events, pushing boundaries.
Is their job, essentially.
But in this case, the network just drew a hard line immediately, citing, we have to assume, sensitivity, brand safety, that kind of thing.
Exactly, and the fallout was instant. Hollywood stars, they were quick to defend Kimmel.
Yeah, I saw that. Ben Stiller, Wanda Sykes.
Right. People like them arguing that silencing a comedian for satire is, well, it's against the whole point of late-night TV. They saw it as the network failing to protect its own creator.
And then social media just exploded.
Yeah.
But it moved pretty fast from the joke itself to the bigger question, didn't it?
It did. It zeroed in on, was this about protecting viewers? Or was it about protecting the network and its advertisers from, bad PR?
Which brings us right to the core analysis here.
And what's fascinating is how the sources look at Kimmel's role. He's not just, a guy reading jokes off cards.
Now, he's bigger than that.
He's arguably part of America's cultural fabric, right? Millions tune in specifically for his take on the day's events. He's a major influencer, politically, culturally.
So when ABC pulls someone like that,
They're setting a precedent. They're basically dictating the boundaries for all entertainment that relies on them. It sends a huge message.
okay, so the easy answer is just, well, it's about the money. But I want to push on that a bit. How does the money work here? What's the specific lever a corporation pulls to override a huge cultural figure who brings in ratings, brings in ad revenue?
Right. It's definitely more complex than just a general fear of losing some ad dollars.
Okay.
What the findings really highlight is this rise of extreme corporate risk aversion. And it seems to be driven by 2 main things.
Okay, what are they?
First, brand safety is now basically an industry in itself. Advertisers use these sophisticated programmatic ad systems, often run by algorithms.
Right, the algos.
And these algorithms flag unsafe keywords or topics, think tragedy, certain political names, violence, and they just hit pause on placing ads there automatically.
Wow. So if Kimmel says something that trips an algorithm wire, bang, ads for major brands just stop running in that segment, even if the satire is, brilliant.
Precisely. It doesn't matter about the quality or the intent. The machine flags it. That's factor 1. The second factor is this growing focus on ESG metrics.
Environmental, social governance.
Exactly. Companies are measured on their ethical impact. And the board, often under pressure from big investors who care about long-term stability and reputation, they see controversial content as a direct threat to their social score. So it's less about one specific boycott threat.
And more about
avoiding any perception of instability that might scare off those big institutional investors. It's about the overall corporate image.
that is a huge shift. So the real pressure point, it isn't angry viewers writing letters anymore. It's the corporate boardrooms protecting their financial reputation above almost everything else.
It seems that way, and it makes the silence when it happens really deafening.
Yeah.
And this raises that really profound question about the cultural cost. The source material argues pretty powerfully, I think, that comedy historically acts as society's pressure valve.
The pressure valve idea. Explain that.
Well, we laugh at power, right? We laugh at politics, even at tragedy sometimes. Not to dismiss them, but it's a way to cope. To kind of release the tension that builds up, especially in a polarized culture like ours.
Okay, that makes sense. So if that valve is constantly being tightened by this corporate caution, what happens to us? To the audience?
Yeah.
Does society just get more tense if it can't safely laugh at the things that worry or scare it?
That's exactly the fear. Taking Kimmel off air risks shifting the whole tone, the whole feel of network late night towards, sterilization.
Sterilization, wow.
If the hosts see this and think, okay, the safest path is just no politics or only surface-level celebrity chat, then the format loses its core function. It stops being a cultural commentator.
Okay, so if that's the potential immediate consequence, this move towards safe, maybe boring content, then we absolutely need to talk about what happens next.
Right.
The sources lay out 5 really specific scenarios for comedy's future, all stemming from this controversy. Where does the pressure go now?
All right, let's dive into those. Hypothesis 1. We can start with maybe the most revolutionary option.
Okay, hit me with it.
Hypothesis 1, the independent empire.
Independent empire.
Yeah.
Sounds grand.
It is. This is the scenario where Kimmel basically takes his huge following and just ports it off network entirely.
So, launches his own thing, like a YouTube channel, a subscription service.
Exactly. Something totally free from ABC, free from the advertiser algorithms, free from that corporate oversight.
You have to think about the Joe Rogan model here, right?
Absolutely. That's the blueprint. Rogan proved that a massive, loyal audience will follow compelling content almost anywhere, regardless of traditional TV or radio.
Mm-hmm.
If Kimmel goes independent, his stuff could actually become bolder, sharper. He could even use the controversy itself as fuel. The source material really highlights that potential draw. Uncensored Jimmy tonight's joke might get me banned.
Yeah, that's a powerful hook.
It's the ultimate subscription pitch for millions who already feel network TV is too watered down.
But hang on, is that actually viable economically? For someone like Kimmel, I mean, the production costs for a big daily show, they're enormous.
They are.
Can independent ads on YouTube, plus maybe subscriptions, really replace a network-level budget?
It would require a total rethink, a fundamental restructuring. He'd have to pivot away from that high-cost traditional TV setup to something much leaner, digital first.
Okay.
But the trade-off is freedom, total freedom. He could make money from merch, live tours, direct fan support, bypassing those big, skittish corporate advertisers entirely. It's a massive risk, no doubt. But the upside is unlimited creative control.
Okay. Risk and reward.
Yeah.
Let's jump to the flip side then, hypothesis 2, the sterilization of network TV.
Yeah, this one suggests that instead of fighting back against censorship, the networks they double down on control.
Oof.
This is maybe the most sobering prediction we found. The sources suggest that networks like ABC, NBC, CBS, they'll quietly bring in mandatory pre-approval for all late-night monologue.
Pre-approval. Like scripts get vetted beforehand.
Hours before airtime, vetted by legal teams, corporate compliance teams, making sure nothing remotely risky gets through.
Wow. So the result is this spontaneity just vanishes.
Yeah.
That edgy commentary disappears.
Pretty much. They become reactive, not proactive, certainly not provocative.
Safe.
Exactly. The source uses the term safe comedy, which, it's basically an oxymoron.
Right. If the point of satire is to speak truth to power,
Yeah.
but every word is checked by the powerful.
Then the format basically eats itself. It commits cultural suicide, which leads us directly into the third scenario.
Okay, hypothesis 3 is about where the edge goes if the networks kill it off. The edge migrates.
Makes sense. If you can't get that kind of content on CBS or ABC anymore, you're going to look for it somewhere else.
Seattle still want it.
Absolutely. The audience appetite for, boundary-pushing commentary, it doesn't just evaporate because network TV gets bland.
So where does it go?
The prediction is that this market gap gets filled, and filled fast, by a new wave of independent creators on platforms like TikTok, Substack, YouTube, places like that.
Creators with no corporate baggage.
Exactly. They can operate incredibly fast, incredibly nimbly. We could see the rise of these niche, maybe shorter, sharper, highly effective satirical shows built for sharing online.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. The market hates a vacuum. especially a satire vacuum. Okay, now for hypothesis 4, the comedian's rebellion. Are the other hosts just going to sit back and watch this happen?
You have to assume the other big names, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers, they are watching this very carefully. It's a test case for their own job security.
Right. So they might play it safe for a bit?
Maybe for a few weeks, yeah. But the source material suggests this whole incident could actually spark a kind of subtle, behind-the-scenes unity, a pushback.
Like demanding more control, better protection.
Potentially.
Yeah.
This controversy could become the catalyst for, say, a comedian's Bill of Rights movement, where hosts start negotiating new contracts that explicitly protect political satire, even if it causes a temporary PR storm.
Interesting. Hollywood does love solidarity when it suits them. Collective bargaining could be a way to resist that corporate fear.
It's a possibility, a way to redraw the lines from their side.
Okay. And finally, let's look at hypothesis 5, the format pivot. This one's less about who is talking and more about how they're talking.
Yeah, this scenario looks at the potential structural collapse of the traditional, hour-long network late-night show format itself.
Because audiences are leaving.
If audiences really do flee en masse to those shorter, faster, independent digital shows we talked about in Hypothesis 3,
then the networks might just ditch the old format.
they might have to. They might abandon the traditional model entirely.
So instead of a show at 11:30 p.m. on broadcast TV, what?
Maybe the network pivots to producing, say, a digital-first, maybe 15-minute commentary piece, distributed mainly through social media, through their streaming apps, something structured more like a highly produced daily podcast segment.
Wow. Yeah, shorter, faster, built for digital.
Exactly. The format pivots to match how people actually consume media now, prioritizing digital reach and shareability over the old, rigid broadcast schedule. It basically turns the late-night show into a daily digital content drop.
Okay, so if we pull all this together, the initial corporate panic, these 5 potential futures, what's the big takeaway for the listener trying to make sense of it all?
Well, short term, the network blinked. They chose risk mitigation over commentary. Kimmel's off the air, and that sends a chilling message. Safety first, content second.
Yeah.
But long term, this controversy, it might not actually be the end of late night comedy. It might be the necessary shock to the system that forces a really rapid, really fundamental reshaping of American media.
So the conclusion we keep circling back to is that the future of relevant, edgy, maybe important late-night commentary, it might not be on network TV anymore.
It seems increasingly likely it will live on independent platforms, places that prioritize the creator's vision over the fears of traditional advertisers.
Right.
And, based on that analysis we discussed, the one defining comedy as society's vital pressure valve, we have to leave you, the listener, with this final thought to chew on. When those powerful voices of satire get consistently muffled or silenced by corporate caution, what actually happens to all that cultural tension they used to release? What's the unseen, the true cost to society when its biggest platforms can only offer up safe laughter?
A really important question, and a fascinating, if maybe unsettling, look at where media might be heading. That's our deep dive for today.